Hello and welcome to Press TV News Analysis. I'm Kaveh. In this news analysis, we're going to examine the relationship between the United States and Pakistan. Well, in a new tension between the two allies, the top U.S. military officer has accused Pakistan's intelligence agency of having links with militants launching attacks against NATO and U.S. troops in Afghanistan, a claim that's been rejected by Islamabad. Meanwhile, officials say that U.S.-Pakistan relations are facing their biggest crisis since 9/11, citing non-UN sanctioned U.S. drone strikes, CIA activities, and lack of progress in Afghanistan to be some of the reasons fueling this rift. Well, to see if we can draw any analysis and, of course, conclusions about this relationship, our guests include defense and diplomacy analyst Naveed Ahmad, who joins us from Islamabad, from the Pakistan Movement for Justice, Ataf Ali, joins us from London, and from Washington, we have historian and investigative journalist Gareth Porter joining us. Thank you all for joining us in this Press TV News Analysis. Gareth Porter, I'd like to start off with you in an exchange that has taken place. Mike Mullen, who said ISI supporting, funding, training fighters that are killing American and NATO soldiers, and Ashfaq Kayani, Pakistan's military chief, negative propaganda, with Mike Mullen adding, I have a sacred obligation to do all I can to make sure that doesn't happen. If you can, please explain the accusation and then the counter-reaction from Pakistan.
Well, the accusation that you're referring to is one that, of course, is not new. The U.S. military has known this for many years. They've known about the close ties between the ISI and the Taliban insurgents in Afghanistan. What is significant here is simply that Mullen is talking about this not only publicly, but quite explicitly, and in a context suggesting that the United States has clearly decided to turn up the heat to a new level on this issue. And I would suggest that this is a sign that the relationship between the United States and Pakistan has indeed really deteriorated significantly in recent weeks, because the Pakistani government has warned the United States about both drone strikes and the level of U.S. unilateral intelligence agents infiltrated into Pakistan. I think that has really been the occasion for Mullen to go to the next level of explicitness and really a sense of hostility toward Pakistani policy.
And talk about these operatives in Pakistan, Naveed Ahmad. The ISI chief, Ahmad Shuja Pasha, was in the United States for talks with CIA Director Leon Panetta, and has requested for the U.S. to reduce the number of CIA operatives and special op forces working in Pakistan. Now, tell us, why is that a key demand, and will the U.S. oblige?
Well, first of all, intelligence sharing is not taking place. That was the prerequisite for this alliance, if you can call it, at this stage between Pakistan and United States. And United States is rather pursuing unilateral actions in Pakistan, and that is causing quite a lot of ill will. Secondly, media in Pakistan is very independent. It's not like Middle East where things can stay hidden. And United States probably is one of the countries which may speak of free word and freedom of expression, but in this case, they are upset with our media, and some of the channels do not get, and media houses do not get any invitations or any kind of access. As far as this whole saga of Mr. Raymond Davis and then showing release and role of Saudis and others is concerned, that exposes the entire problem that Pakistan is trying to highlight and United States is not trying to accept. But the problem here is that Pakistani government, Pakistani military and Pakistani public opinion at this stage are in unison, and that is rare in a country like Pakistan. So Pakistani nation and government both are ready to face any kind of United States increase in heat, as my colleague spoke about, and very rightly so. And United States probably is in a state of desperation. They have entire Middle East heading towards a direction they were not expecting and not prepared for, and we saw what they did in Egypt. And secondly, they are not really sure how far they can go in Afghanistan, given the situation that they are seeing in Libya, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and other countries like Syria. Right. So this is where the situation is causing that desperation within Washington and Pentagon.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Pakistan has complained about these CIA operatives. We can't Why don't you tell us how great the number is that Pakistan is making this demand for it to lessen the numbers, but at the same time, I would think this may go hand in hand with the number of contractors, which I understand are in abundance in Pakistan. Can you give us an idea about the numbers and how large that may be?
Well, number is pretty large, and there are different coats that these guys are wearing, but they are
what are they doing in Pakistan?
When they're basically on witch hunt. They are trying to find any excuse to get people arrested. It's a country which has been run over the past 7-8 years without any laws for that matter during Musharraf period, and he gave unprecedented access. Ishfaq Kiani has been trying to reduce it, and now with Raymond Davis issue, this came up so blatantly public. If you move into Islamabad and other cities, there are certain houses and certain facilities that are barricaded, and that are barbed wires are there, and all kinds of security is there, and the number is pretty much high. And even the bulletproof cars that are seen, that in itself are a moving target. So this is why Pakistani intelligence agencies feel that the burden of protecting these foreigners on their shoulders is too much, and Americans on the other hand continue to insist that Pakistanis are not reliable, and ISI and other intelligence agencies are playing a double game. We know that Haqqani and all these Taliban were in good contact with United States even after 9/11, some of them. And Mr. Karzai and others have been talking to them. But when Pakistan does this, or Iran does this, or any neighboring countries does this, Americans are not happy with it. But India can have interest in Afghanistan, France can have its interest in Afghanistan, Americans can have it, and British can have it, but not the neighboring countries.
Well, let's move to another bone of contention here, and that's about these non-UN sanctioned drone attacks, in which it has been a complaint by coming from the Army General Ashfaq Kiani. And Ataf Ali, I'd like to address this with you, in which Mr. Kiani has said that there needs to be a reduction of these non-UN sanctioned U.S. drone strikes, which, well, the United States has continued, and it's not a new complaint. Do you think this time it's going to be different?
Well, it's in complete hypocrisy in terms of what Pakistani administration is doing in terms of this arbitrary extrajudicial killing that is taking place on the borders of Pakistan. You cannot say that you need some reduction in terms of drone attacks. It's a direct violation of Pakistan's constitution of Article 4, where it clearly states that there is the government or state which has the responsibility to protect the lives and the properties of the citizens of Pakistan and anyone who's living within the borders of this state. So first of all, there's absolute violation of this country. It means the question of sovereignty of Pakistan. You cannot, either you are sovereign or you're not. There's a question of, you cannot say this is a half pregnant. This is what our current administration is doing, either army establishment or the current government. What they are trying to portray is they are trying to say that they are absolutely helpless in front of US drone attacks, and actually they cannot do anything. Instead, we know, it's an open secret now, that our current government and army establishment is actively collaborating to get these drone attacks taking place inside Pakistan. And it came to a scale where it's from one-off assassination taking through drone attacks, it has turned into a full-fledged bombing campaigns now. And most recently, where about 80 civilians have been killed 2 weeks ago. The main issue that we are trying to highlight in Pakistan, especially the political party like Pakistan Movement for Justice, is the reason for insurgency in Afghanistan is because of the foreign occupying forces present in Afghanistan. What American administration is trying to do is change the narrative of the war, where they're trying to put the whole burden on Pakistan and want to portray Pakistan as mother of all evils, and portraying Afghanistan as a main heaven of peace for the rest of the world. Right. Unfortunately, we see on one side in Turkey, they are conducting conferences with Taliban and trying to have some kind of a deal taking place within Afghanistan to forge a peace. But on Pakistan, these drone attacks are fueling more hatred, more revenge, and more insurgency. Is just destroying Pakistan's image, is destroying American image in that region.
Well, let's look at the approach that Pakistan has in terms of Afghanistan, Gareth Porter. It has been said that this ISI chief, Ahmad Shuja Pasha, will ask the American administration for a crystal clear policy on Afghanistan, which can be followed accordingly by Pakistan. Pakistan views that the U.S. administration is not clear Is the U.S. able to answer that? I mean, are they in a disarray when it comes to a direction in Afghanistan?
Well, actually, disarray might be sort of a soft way of characterizing the problem of U.S. policymaking toward Afghanistan. I think certainly it is disarray, and perhaps beyond that, I think the Obama administration simply has not been able to muster the will to make the critical decision that it must make in order to have a policy that makes any sense at all in Afghanistan, which is to pick up the phone and call the ISI in Pakistan and say that we are prepared to begin direct talks with the Taliban Quetta Shura leadership on the basis of no preconditions, and that we are prepared to begin to withdraw our troops in regard to a final settlement. That is, that a final settlement would involve the withdrawal of U.S. troops, which everyone knows is going to be an absolute condition for a settlement on the part of the Taliban. They are not going to stand down in Afghanistan unless the United States agrees to the complete withdrawal of its troops. And that's something that, given the power of the U.S. military and the Pentagon in Washington, the Obama administration, President Obama himself, simply have not yet quite been able to decide to buck the interests, those powerful interests, and say, yes, we are prepared to get out under a settlement.
Well, when it comes to Pakistan, though, on the other hand, in terms of what the U.S. interest has, Naveed Ahmed, the Pakistani army firmly believes that Washington's real aim is to neutralize the nation's nuclear arsenal. We know that Pakistan has been very ambitious in developing its nuclear arsenal. It's on its way to becoming the world's fifth largest. Do you think that that is indeed what Pakistan is, in a sense, afraid of in terms of what the U.S. might do, or is in the process, if they're not already, of trying to neutralize this nuclear arsenal of Pakistan?